Hello everybody, welcome back to day 2 of Cubemas 2025. Alright, so today's day 2. Yesterday we had the crazy 5x5 V2 by Shang Xiao. Let's open this up and see what day 2 is. Very excited. This series is one of my favorites to do. Ooh, we have the Cube for You 3x3x5. So, you guys were requesting that, a couple of you guys wanted me to do some cuboid things, and so I made sure that this was on my list this year. So we have my first ever cuboid for the collection, unless you count my 1x1x3 keychain that barely is functional. Thanks, Rubik's. So yeah, we have an actual cuboid for the collection. Super excited about that. And as we always do on Cubemas, we are going to scramble this up and see if I can solve it. So let's get right into that. Let me do some turns here because I know eventually this thing is gonna bandage, so I have to scramble these pieces first before I do the rest of it. So let's get some good flops and twists in here before we are done. All right, so now we're just gonna scramble it like a normal 3x3 and really get this thing messed up. Okay, that looks pretty scrambled to me. All right, so I think there's two things that need to happen here. I don't have a lot of knowledge of cuboids. However, I did back in the day used to watch a lot of Crazy Bad Cuber videos, and he was a fanatic for the cuboids. So I do have a couple ideas on how to solve this. And I do have a tutorial pulled up that I have not watched yet, just in case. So my first thought is we probably want to work on the inners. But we also, because of this one, we have to get it into 3x3 stage and shape because we don't want to keep the cube bandaged, because if it's bandaged, well, then we're in trouble. So I'm working on these edge pieces, right? I want to get these in, but then I also at the same time want to make sure that I unbandage the cube. So after that, we'll unbandage the cube. So here's another one. This one's green. And then here's our red one, actually, because you don't have to do the white pieces first. It doesn't really matter. However, it just so happened that the cross ended up being white. Once I unbandage this, I can do a D, like a little small D, to just solve all of those pieces. But first, we need to unbandage this, and I know that I have to solve the edges correctly in their slot, or I will end up with parody when I go to do last layer. So like this edge has to go in correctly. That I do know. See, like that's wrong. So that one, this actually turns really good for like an old stickered puzzle. Like I'm actually kind of surprised at how good this turns. Also, I don't think I have to be worried about this because we do some like weird commutator flop things, I'm pretty sure, to solve this. At least to my knowledge. I'm probably going to end up having to look up the algs because I have never solved a cuboid before in my life. Now I have this middle layer with these edge pieces, so I should be able to solve the top like a regular 3x3 now. Okay, so that OLL was not correct. You guys will have to give me a break. This cube doesn't turn like the modern 3x3s. Okay, so we actually ended up really lucky. We had all of these pieces solved up here as well, too. So now we have to flip pieces. And that is where I might need to look up an algorithm. I know I want to try to solve these middle layers. Well, actually, as far as I know, you probably could use the same algorithms for all of it. So, actually, I'm going to solve these. Actually, 3 out of the 4 corners are solved already. That's kind of wild. So, theoretically, hold on a second. Theoretically, I could solve the entire bottom layer by just redoing 3x3 stage at this point. Is it worth it though? I think so. All right, like I feel like that would do some skipping, right? I mean, I don't know much about cuboids, but okay, so now we just have to solve 2 layers. We got really lucky with these 2. So I think I have to swap some corners, like these corners, I think. Man, this puzzle breaks in pretty quick. So now I have this problem. Is this solvable? No. So maybe this is parody? Yeah, I think that goes like that. F2. Huh. Well, that done messed up the cube. That sucks. They like really messed up the cube. Okay, I guess we're doing this again. Oh my god, dude, I'm like actually so bad at cubing. I've been sitting here farting around with 3x3 stage for ages. And for what? Now that's solved. Now I have to do the same thing up top, but with a flipping algorithm. So these 2 are solved. These 2 need to get flipped. So the flip is R2U, R2U prime, R2U prime D, R2U prime, R2U, R2. Okay, that did solve this. Now we have adjacent edges. R2U, R2U, R2U2, R2U2, R2U, R2U prime, R2. That solves these edges. Problem is this is still flipped, and that's not good. I guess for now I'll work on making this correct. Okay, now I have the white and the yellows in the right spot, and now we just have to flip pieces. But there's this problem. Actually, this creates opposite edges. R2, U2, R2, U2, R2. But then that creates this problem, so it's like... Wait, so is that what parity is? So is it U2, R2, F2, U2, those together, I think? F2, R2, U2. But like, what the heck is this? Do we have to go backwards and like try again once we get, like, what's going on here? Why is this wrong? Because the edges are done, so now I have to swap corners. And a corner switch is... What the heck, man? I'm so incredibly lost. Because now I have adjacent edges, or opposite edges. Okay, now these layers are solved, but now this top layer's wrong. Oh, no way! Boom! That puzzle made my brain hurt. Cubemas Day 2 complete. That took like 25 minutes. That was brutal. But I can say that I have solved my first cuboid. I'm very excited to add this to the collection. let me know down below in the comments which cuboid I should get next, if any, and I will very much consider picking that up. If you want to grab one of these for yourself, I'm going to put the link down in the description. You might as well have something for Cube for You in your collection. They're a classic company. Yeah, go to the Cubicle, check that out. Use code FATROCK at checkout for 5% off your order. And if you're going to get the rest of your holiday things, you might as well pick one of these up. Anyways, it's a really neat puzzle. It does start turning a lot better the more you use it, and you can lubricate it to make it even better than that. So yeah, really fun solve. Super excited for day 2 tomorrow. Come back to check that out. And keep in mind, this is Cubemas. You don't know when, but one of the days there's going to be a giveaway. So keep that in mind. See you tomorrow. Peace out.